Hey, what's going on, guys? Xuen here. So, I recently did a video on my thoughts on the BFA Windwalker changes, and I got a lot of comments discussing a lot of concerns of the way that I handled that video, and I do want to say I apologize. A lot of people didn't really understand where I was coming from, and I want to kind of clear that up and kind of just redo this video and have more of a positive outlook on how Windwalkers are shaping up to be in BFA, because they are going to be a lot like Legion Windwalkers. So if you like Legion Windwalkers, you're definitely going to like BFA Windwalkers. I'm going to be doing this video over again, kind of talking about the talents and all the new spells that you're getting, new passive, some exciting stuff. But I'm also going to be going over some things that I'm concerned about, which I have the right to because I am entitled to my own opinion. And again, I don't know if it's going to change because my main concern has to deal with the Tiger Palm, which I'll be discussing in a little bit, but it might change once you hit 120 due to the fact that we're going to have things like Azurite traits. Maybe we'll get traits that increase our energy or increase our haste, which is what I'm hoping for. Or maybe moving into beta, we'll get increased, I'm not beta live, we'll get increased energy once we hit max level. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. Again, it's still 110. Even though Blizzard said that they're pretty much done with a lot of classes and a lot of the changes, it's still pretty early on in the beta, so anything can happen. But again, I do want to say I'm sorry to those people. I didn't mean to come off harshly, so that's the main reason why I wanted to redo this video, just to kind of clear that up. So we're just going to pretty much do the same thing, go over the talents, the specs, the abilities, as well as some of my concerns and some things that are exciting to look forward to. So once again, if you do like Windwalkers in Legion, you're going to like them in BFA. So they have pretty much a similar playstyle. There's a few nerfs to your utility that you will notice, like paralysis being nerfed from a 15-second cooldown to a minute cooldown. There's stuff like that. Won't really affect PvE too much, but PvP, it's going to be a noticeable change. Maybe we'll get a PvP talent that will reduce the cooldown of paralysis. I don't know. Again, we don't even have PvP talents, but let's go into the first thing, which is going to be our Mystic Touch. Now, a lot of classes got utility back in terms of buffs, like Arcane Mages got Arcane Intellect. I think Druids got Mark of the Wild. No, they didn't get Mark of the Wild. Gosh, a few classes got their buffs back. I do know for a fact that Mages got their Arcane Intellect. Again, Windwalker main here. Don't know much about other classes, but I know that monks are not the only class that are affected with the nerf bat and utility. Holy spell prune bat, please stop doing this, Blizzard. That's something that I don't agree with, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you will agree with me on, is that they need to stop pruning abilities. But we used to have buffs, Legacy of the Emperor, Legacy of the White Tiger, which were buffs that we could give to the party. And this is something that's actually really nice moving into BFA, is that we have a utility spell that we can bring to the party that we don't necessarily have to constantly buff. In PvP, we would constantly have to rebuff if we're versing a comp that could purge or spell steal, which is very annoying at high-end PvP, because at high-end PvP, around 2700 MMR, a lot of classes would be doing that. Spell stealing and purging, they would be consistent, and it was your job to always keep up to date with rebuffing, because it would make or break a game at high-end PvP. Mystic Touch makes it to where you're damaging weakest in target, increasing physical damage taken 5%. PvP, it's reduced to a minute. So that's a utility that we're going to be bringing to the table. Again, we are going to be able to keep our Mortal Strike from our Rising Sun Kick. And again, I'm mostly going to be focusing around PvP. I am going to be moving into PvE a lot going into BFA, because I know I missed out on a lot for Legion, and it's mainly due to the fact just because I didn't really like the direction that they were going for Windwalkers in Legion, just due to the fact that I don't agree with the whole kiting method. I miss the in-your-face method, and Windwalkers are just moving more to a burst run setup. You kind of feel like a rogue, and that's just something that I don't really like. But, you know, going into BFA, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and still gonna play Windwalkers. I don't know, maybe we'll like it for PvE. Again, 120 is still a possibility because I know that they're gonna be releasing servers. They've done that for like every single expansion in the alpha/beta. Eventually they release max level servers where you have gear, and they'll be having new talents, especially with honor talents. So, let's first move into the Fist of Fury. So Fist of Fury still is the same. It still has the same cooldown. Pummels targets in front of you. Still able to move while channeling. Does high damage to your primary target. Other targets deal at least 50% reduction. Just about to your other targets. Now, interesting thing is that your Blackout Kick now reduces the cooldown on Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury by 1 second each time it's used. So you have an option of in a rotation to where you could spam Blackout Kick to get your Fist of Fury and Rising Sun Kick off cooldown quicker, but at the same time you'd be sacrificing, if you were taking the talent hit combo, you would have to sacrifice losing stacks for hit combo, as well as you'd have to take your mastery into account that you'd be not following your mastery, which is staying the same going into Legion, to where if you use an ability that's not the repeat of the previous ability, it does extra damage, depending on how much mastery you have. Tiger Palm staying the same. It's something that I'm concerned about because there is a lot of downtime, and again, it can change at 120 depending if we get more haste energy regain. I haven't been able to fully test that until we get to max level about how much haste for energy per second we can get, because the only time I really tested that was moving from Mop to Wad, because they wanted to slow Windwalker monks down, like a lot of classes down that had a lot of energy uptime. They also increased the energy from Jab from 40 to 45, moving from Mist to Wad, and they also reduced the energy per second. That was really the last time I really focused on haste per energy per second regain. So moving into BFA, I'm not quite sure how that will affect, but in terms of level 110 with the 185 item level gear, there are several times in rotation, around 30 seconds in the beginning of rotation, you'll be going into rotation, and there will be around the first 30 seconds in, you're going to be auto attacking for about 2 to 3 seconds, and then every 10 to 15 seconds after that, it's going to happen again. So you have stuff like Fist of the White Tiger or Fist of Fury off cooldown. So you have to keep that in mind, or Serenity if you decide to take that talent. So just pretty much going up, voice crack, pretty much going over the same abilities. You do have the same abilities. There hasn't been too much pruning. Touch of Death, you're able to keep the artifact trait during the to where 10% of the damage that you deal while Touch of Death is active, it gets applied to your target as extra damage. So you want to make sure to Touch of Death and do a lot of as much damage as you can in order to maximize DPS output. Spinning Crane Kick got reduced to 2 chi, which was pretty nice. I still wish that it cost energy, but the fact that it was reduced to 2 chi is really nice because you're able to Tiger Palm, Spinning Crane Kick, Tiger Palm, Spinning Crane Kick if you so desire, rather than trying to get 3 chi, which can be quite frustrating in Legion when you're trying to go about AoEing. We got a new spell in place of a fuse called Vivify. It's not the same as Mistweaver Monks in Legion to where it heals multiple targets, it just heals you. Originally in the alpha we had a fuse still and it healed for 1k. Later on in the beta they changed to Vivify, which heals for 1.5k, which can crit to a 3k, which is pretty nice. But they did remove healing elixirs in turn, so it's kind of give and take for that. I personally would have rather kept healing elixirs because I think that was a really good talent to have, because you could pop heals in combat. Like something that was really good for monks was having a combat heal. That way you're not casting, because the whole casting for healing just promotes the whole kiting method. Again, some people like that. I personally don't like kiting that much. In order to win in a duel, I feel like you should be able to go and pop damage, you know, do your thing, pour it out, heal up for like 5 seconds, then get back to the fight rather than running for a long time. It's just not really as engaging. But other than that, everything's pretty much the same. Transcendence got a little bit of a change, a little bit of a nerf. Transcendence, no, I think it's still the same. I think that, yeah, I think it's still the same. For some reason I was thinking that the Transcendence placement had a longer shorter cooldown in Legion. It might, I just haven't really noticed. but everything's pretty much still the same. Let's move into the talents. So the 15 tier has stayed the same. 30 tier has a little bit of confusing change, at least for me, to where there is a mobility tier, yet they decided to switch Diffuse Magic and Tiger's Lust. I don't really understand this change. In my opinion, is Blizzard trying to be creative when it's not really being creative? But what you're gonna do, they've actually played with a 30 to 75 tier a lot and swapped a lot of different spells. But you can choose Celerity, Diffuse Magic, or Chi Torpedo. The fact that you can take Diffuse Magic and Inner Strength can be pretty strong versus certain comps that are casters. It might make Diffuse Magic a more viable option. Diffuse Magic used to be really good back in WoD and MoP, to where it absorbed or reduced 90% of the spell and lasts for 8 seconds. Now it's 60% from Legion and stays the same moving into BFA. So got to keep that in mind. Chi Torpedo, same as ever, but my personal opinion, I think that Celerity is going to be the go-to talent, especially for PvE. Chi Torpedo might be really good in Mythic Pluses because it increases your movement speed, especially if you can't take Tiger's Lust, and Inner Strength is going to be better considering that a lot of Mythic Pluses, from what I know, have a lot of AoE, and Inner Strength is going to be really, really strong. Inner Strength is a new talent that you get that each chi you spend reduces the damage taken by 2% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times for a maximum of 10% damage reduction. Again, in my opinion, I think this is going to be the go-to talent. Tiger's Lust is a like if you're versing a Boomkin, you'd probably take Tiger's Lust in order to sprint your healer out of a root beam. And from what I've witnessed for Boomies, because I messed around with Boomy a little bit on the alpha, they're pretty much the same. Nothing's really changed for druids, as I know, at least for Feral or Boomkin. But we're really talking about monks here. Leg Sweep is a baseline spell now. It is a 1-minute cooldown now, and it lasts for 3 seconds. Moving into BFA, Blizzard stated that they wanted to remove 5-second AoE stuns. So, Windwalker, being a class that has a 5-second AoE stun, they wanted to nerf that ability to where it was a 3-second stun. They made a baseline. You have the ability to now take Ring of Peace and Leg Sweep at the same time, which is going to be really, really nice for things like arenas if you're versing a melee comp where you're able to use that utility for your healer. Like, you could Ring of Peace your healer and keep them pretty safe. Versing no melee comps, it can also be, you could use some outplay potential with Ring of Peace because you could be versing some things, you could interrupt some spell casts. Like, there's a lot of like playful things you could do with Ring of Peace now that it's just an optional talent. Excuse me, now it's an optional talent that you can take with a stun. I'm really hoping that we do get an honor talent that allows us to have a Fist of Fury stun, because in my personal opinion, I think that Fist of Fury stun is necessary to really make monks viable in PvP. Fist of Fury stun is just such a good utility spell, as well as a pretty much something to lock a target down for your burst. But there's been several instances where I have saved my party in 3s at high rated while using Fist of Fury as a utility stun rather than a damaging ability. So again, it's a give and take considering that Fist of Fury is your highest damaging ability. Again, moving on, Inner Strength is the new talent. 90 tier is pretty interesting. We have hit combo Rushing Jade Wind and Invoke Xuen. My personal opinion, unfortunately, I believe that hit combo is still going to be the go-to talent, due to the fact that it is just a straight damage increase, and monks thrive on as much damage as possible, especially for burst. Rushing Jade Wind got a really nice change. I really like this talent. However, if Tiger Palm does not see change in the rotation for energy, we will not have the energy required to keep this up consistently. I think this is a really cool play on Rushing Jade Wind, because for someone that played Monk in MoP and loved using Rushing Jade Wind, I'd really like to see this spell come back as a viable DPS option. However, I do not know if it's going to be viable until level 120 servers come out, because I have no idea how the stat difference is going to increase, how much energy per second I'm going to gain. If I'm going to get Azurite traits that will help with my energy, I don't know that yet. So I don't know if it's going to be viable or not. At the moment, I still think that hit combo is going, from what I know so far, I think that hit combo is going to be the go-to talent. Invoke got a buff. I keep thinking when time gets lowered, it's... Never mind. Anyway, it got a buff from a 3-minute cooldown down to a 2-minute cooldown, which is pretty nice. In terms of how much damage it deals, it's okay. I've tested it out on some NPCs when I was questing, as well as some target dummies. It seems really good, but I still think that hit combo is going to be better for more consistent damage, especially if you take talents like Fist of the White Tiger and Whirling Dragon Punch, where you want to hit those, you know, hard-hitting abilities to get more damage out of those abilities, considering that monks nowadays are really revolving around burst rather than sustainable damage. So you got to keep that in mind. The 100 tier has Power Strikes, Whirling Dragon Punch, and Serenity. Power Strikes, in my personal opinion, needs to be swapped with Fist of the White Tiger. It's just my opinion. I get that Fist of the White Tiger generates chi, but so does Power Strikes. I just feel like Fist of the White Tiger would be more of a compatible, or it would compete more with these other two talents, whereas Power Strikes, I highly doubt you'd ever take first thing Whirling Dragon Punch or Serenity. I just don't see I don't see a time that you would ever take Power Strikes versus the other two talents, because the other two talents in the 100 tier are just so strong compared to Power Strikes, to whereas Fist of the White Tiger would be really good because it generates chi as well as deals some damage. It doesn't deal as much damage as Rising Sun Kick, but it deals moderate damage and grants you 3 chi, and that's why I think that it would be it would compete with the 100 tier. Again, that's just my opinion. But does that happen every hour? Huh. Never noticed that. But pretty much that's going over the Windwalker changes in BFA. Once again, I do want to apologize to the people that watched the very first video. I didn't mean to come out harshly. I just wanted to state my opinions and kind of theory craft, and I could see that a lot of people misunderstood. And I'll try to keep that in mind for future videos. So that's why I wanted to re-upload this video, because, you know, I'm not trying to complain. I'm hoping that, you know, once 120 comes, we'll be able to see a more fluid rotation in terms of Tiger Palm costing 50 energy. Hoping, but if not saying that monks are going to be bad at all for Legion. If you like Windwalkers, Legion, BFA, if you like Windwalkers and Legion, you're definitely going to like them in BFA. Some exciting stuff, and I'm pretty sure that the Azurite gear would offer you some really fun options as well. But other than that, once again, sorry. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Try to be a little bit more positive this time, and I'll try to be more positive in the future. I will keep that in mind. If you still decide to dislike this video, it's up to you. I can't really change your mind, can't really change your opinion, but it's up to you. Anyways, thanks for watching again, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Again, I stream every single day at twitch.tv/Xuen. Tune in the stream. Don't really have a set schedule on that, but if you have any questions for me, if you want me to test stuff out for you on the beta, if you play a certain class and you want me to test stuff out for you, I'm more than happy to do that. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe icon and hit that bell icon next to it so you can be notified on future uploads. You try to be a little more consistent, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry again, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.